Dominic Cummings is coming to drain the swamp. We talk about who Cummings is and what his plans are for the establishment. Well, hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about the new Boris government and the administration's new mission to deal with the establishment and how we do politics in general in this country. Now, behind this whole operation, there's a big team around Boris Johnson, but there's one man and one brain that is running everything in terms of the ideas that are created, and that is Dominic Cummings. Now, in case you don't know who Dominic Cummings is, in case you haven't seen the news in the last few months, he's currently the senior special advisor to Boris Johnson, Prime Minister. He was previously in charge of the Vote Leave campaign, and successfully gave us the Brexit result during the 2016 EU referendum. And before that, he was special advisor to Michael Gove when he was Education Secretary. Now, Dominic has a big background in data, technology, is a crazy, unconventional genius, and now his mission is to basically do a shake-up when it comes to the Whitehall establishment. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about who he is, his mentality, and the new plans for the government to tackle this metropolitan liberal elite mentality of Westminster. Now, before we continue, if you enjoy the content, make sure you click subscribe and on the bell next to it so you get notified when we release the videos. Videos come out every day at 5:45 p.m. Now, let's kick off the things when it comes to Dominic Cummings' mentality. Cummings is a very unconventional character. He never liked the whole traditional way of doing politics in Westminster, people that this bubble attracts, and he always thought that we could do things more efficiently, we could do things better, and he doesn't really agree with the traditional approach to anything, to be fair, not just politics but also business as well. For example, this.
The wiring of power in Downing Street is systemically dysfunctional, and worse, those with real institutional power, Cabinet Office, Treasury officials, etc., have as their top priority the maintenance of this broken system and keeping Britain as closely tied to the EU as possible.
And he's right, he's never liked that sort of mentality. And to be fair, look at politics over the last few decades. Has it been efficient? Has it been what ordinary people actually out there want? Politicians go out there during each campaign, they give empty promises, people vote for them, nothing gets done, and then they spend the whole cycle doing the things over and over again without actually making any changes. He also believed when it comes to delivering and implementing Brexit, you cannot do it using the traditional ways of Westminster.
Their only strategy is to trust officials to be honest, which is like trusting Bernie Madoff with your finances. Brexit cannot be done with the traditional Westminster Whitehall system. Right,
now, when I was part of the Vote Leave campaign in the 2016 referendum, I saw closely Dominic Cummings' genius at work, and one of my other colleagues, Tom Harwood, who now works for Guido Fawkes, who was actually working closer with Dominic at the time, and this is what he has to say.
Who's provenly built a movement, but also can inspire the team that work around him, almost in a sort of hero worship style. People believe in him because he is, quite frankly, brilliant. He's someone that has that sort of eccentricity, but eccentricity for a purpose, because he has this almost singular focus on what is being achieved, but also an understanding of politics in a much more analytical sense than most observers or participants in it have.
Now, a lot of people ask why Boris Johnson actually brought in Dominic Cummings after he became leader of the Tory party and became Prime Minister. The reason is we are in this mess and this deadlock of Brexit because politicians and the whole of the establishment had a different view. And they didn't understand that, when 52% of the people, regardless of the percentage, vote for something, get it done. And politicians can't choose what vote to respect.
How are the preparations for a no-deal Brexit coming along?
Great.
And
the most simple thing is, the Prime Minister believes the politicians don't get to choose which votes they respect. That's the critical issue.
And what did you think of Dominic Grieve's assessment of you being arrogant and ignorant and not understanding the British Constitution?
I don't think I am arrogant. I don't know very much about very much. Mr. Grieve, we'll see what he's right about.
Thank you.
Now, the best bit was at the end when he was asked about Dominic Grieve, and he said, well, we'll see if he's right or not. Well, where is Grieve now? So, well, seems like the good Dominic was right and the bad Dominic wasn't. Now, during the whole EU referendum, when he was running the Vote Leave campaign, he was actually asked a number of times by select committees in Parliament about the approach and the so-called experts who are on the Remain side and giving us all these predictions about the economy and everything else. And Dominic Cummings always said, yeah, it's irrelevant because they're usually wrong.
The establishment operates on the basis of herding around conventional wisdom. It's why the establishment has got every big foreign policy decision wrong since trying to deal with Bismarck in the 1870s, 1860s. All the big things, Whitehall and Parliament have unfortunately got wrong since then. And they herd. That's what happens all the time. They herded behind the ERM. They herded behind the Euro. Now they're herded behind supporting the EU. Conventional wisdom changes when crises hit. Look what happened in 2008. All these people didn't predict that. An eclectic group of other people, often from outside the economics profession, outside politics, outside the establishment, they are the people who accurately said financial systems can fall off a cliff.
Now let's get to the exciting part, which is the future and the plan that this government basically have for the Whitehall establishment, and they're basically to drain the swamp. So let's get started. Prime Minister's Cummings plan for the civil service. Now there are a lot of ideas, but specifically when it comes to government departments and the inefficiency there, he wants to, for example, merge the Department for International Trade with the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy to focus on global trade deals and revitalizing poorer areas. And this also includes a super department for education to focus on research and development spending alongside skills to rebalance the economy. And there are obviously a lot of things that he wants to do, but specifically one thing that this government is going to be looking at is reviewing the foreign aid that we have. Now, foreign aid for a long time has been used as a virtual signaling tool to obviously send the message to the world that we care. Obviously we are throwing money at poorer countries to help them, but actually where is this money going in reality? So there's going to be hopefully a cut in this to make sure that the money actually goes to the right places, but also prioritizing our own country. The other thing that's going to be focused on is the BBC TV license, or as we say, the TV tax. There is going to be a lot of shake-up in this department and in this whole area, and everybody's getting quite excited about this because the BBC have basically gone out of control over the last few years. And finally, actual Whitehall and civil servants, and also the actual political advisors who work for the government. And this is going to be the exciting part of this. And that's the exciting part, and that's the reason we're making this video today about this, because a couple of days ago, Dominic Cummings posted on his personal blog. This is the page where he uses to express his opinions, his crazy ideas, and his plans. And he used that to post a series of job adverts for a number of roles within government and Downing Street to do things differently, to be unconventional, and to basically to make sure that we don't attract a certain type, again, as usual, the certain political type, the middle classes who go to the same universities, the same backgrounds, same families. And so that's his plan, to attract, as he says, the so-called sorted weirdos and the unconventional characters, because sometimes they have better ideas. Now, he used this page to post these job adverts with the title of "We're hiring data scientists, project managers, policy experts, sorted weirdos," and he used a number of quotes by a number of people. One of them is, "Much of our intellectual elite who think that they have the solutions have actually cut themselves off from understanding the basis for much of the most important human progress. But there are also some profound problems at the core of how the British state makes decisions. We want to hire an unusual set of people with different skills and backgrounds to work in Downing Street with the best officials, some as SPADs, special advisors, and perhaps some as officials." He also wants to do a bit of shake-up when it comes to the media and the press and the lobby in general. He says, in SW1, with the Westminster area, communication is generally treated as almost synonymous with talking to the lobby. This is partly why so much punditry is narrative from noise. We're particularly interested in deep experts on TV and digital. We're also interested in people who have worked in movies or on advertising campaigns. I feel like I should really apply for this job. This would be quite suitable for me, but well, I probably won't, because it probably wouldn't be a good fit. But he also mentions the super talented weirdos. People in SW1 talk a lot about diversity, but they rarely mean true cognitive diversity. They are usually babbling about gender identity, diversity, blah blah. What SW1 needs is not more drivel about identity and diversity from Oxbridge humanities graduates, but more genuine cognitive diversity. Again, this is perfect for me. I am that weirdo. And then he's very straightforward and straight talking. He says, "I'll bin you within weeks if you don't fit. Don't complain later because I made it clear now." And he says, "I will use this blog to throw out ideas. It's important when dealing with large organizations to dart around at different levels, not to be stuck with formal hierarchies. It will seem chaotic and not proper number 10 process to some, but the point of this government is to do things differently and better, and this always looks messy. We do not care about trying to control the narrative and all that new Labour junk, and this government will not be run by comms grid." And this is why everyone's getting quite excited about this, because there's nothing wrong with coming across as chaotic as long as you're getting things done. And this government is going to be different. So we're going to talk a lot about all this in the future and in the coming weeks and months. And we're actually going to do it in person as well. As you know, in a couple of weeks' time, we're all going to get together. We're organising a Brexit victory rally, but also as a thank you to you guys for supporting this channel, for reaching over 100,000 subscribers. On Wednesday, the 15th of January, we are doing this party with a number of big names. We have Talk Radio's Mike Graham, the Conservative MPs Steve Baker and Nigel Evans, and the co-founder of the Vote Leave campaign, Douglas Carswell. We also have a number of other surprise guests for you guys. The tickets are actually selling out really fast now. I think we have about 20%, 10% left. So I'll put the link in the description. Make sure you check it out and book your tickets as soon as possible so we know the numbers roughly, what happens on the night. It's going to be great to get together, have a few drinks, have a chat about all this and the post-Brexit Britain. And as I said earlier, make sure you subscribe and click on that bell next to it so you get notified when we release the new videos. Videos come out every day at 5:45 p.m. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.